bringing life back to dull photos with contrast is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone, and welcome. All right, so I came across this photo I took a while back at in the Badlands, and I loved it. But again, this is straight out of camera, and it's a raw file. It's dull, and I'm sure you've always wondered the same thing. Why are our images so dull when it comes out of the camera? If I shot this in JPEG, then the camera is going to do all the processing for me, and it's going to look great. So sometimes what I like to do is I'll shoot RAW plus JPEG, and then just compare them when I bring it inside Luminar Neo. I'll have the RAW file, the next will be the JPEG, to see what the camera does and the contrast that it's building. So if you want it straight out of camera, looking great, then you're going to have to shoot in JPEG, tweak your camera settings and go from there. But if you want more control, then shoot in RAW, bring it inside Luminar Neo, and watch what we're going to do. All right? Well, the first thing I'm going to do, and yes, I will admit, this is because I'm going to be a little bit lazy, is I am going to, here, drag it and put it into HDR merge. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is I want HDR merge to tone correct the image for me. So I'm going to show you the difference on what it does for me. So I'm going to let it do its thing. And you can still do it with a single image. You don't need to have the bracketing images. So now what I'm going to do is, once I did that, is let's drag it, and I'm going to drop it into an album I created so you can see the difference. All right, so here's the original image. And then look what HDR did for us. So it tone mapped the image, but it made everything consistent all the way through. So this is technically considered like a flat image. So what we need to do is add a little more life to it. Well, there's a couple ways we can do it. So I'm going to jump over here to develop, and I love working right down in here with the tones. So you get the black tones and the white tones. So I'm going to go to an extreme so you can see it. Look what that's doing for us. All right, I'm going to dial it back just a bit. Right about here is good. And then for the white tones, let me bring it out a little more. And here's the shadows. I'm going to bump up the shadow just a bit. And let's look at before and after. Look at this. Again, I mean, it's a huge improvement over the original. But look, with just that little touch, with the white and the black, look what we're able to do. Now, I'm going to keep it from here. I'm going to stay here for a moment with this here. And what I want to do is add just a little structure to it to further enhance the contrast. Look what it's doing. It's bringing out more detail. And when it's doing that, just enough to give me what I'm looking for. Now, up to this point, I'm doing this because I want to create a preset. So notice I'm not doing any masking whatsoever right now. You'll see why we're going to do this in a moment. All right. So I'm going to come back, and now I'm going to add a little more contrast with super contrast. Normally I start with highlights, but in this case, I'm going to start with the shadows. And then just balance the shadows with that right about there. Midtones, this is going to do most of the heavy lifting for me. There we go. And that's a little heavy-handed. I'm going to move it down just a little bit. All right. Now, just so you know, I am going to go a little overboard with what we're doing, and you'll see the magic and why. All right, so I have all that set. I like it. I'm going to come back up here. Remember that develop right here? Remember I said I went overboard? I wanted to show you the difference. Well, you know what? I'm going to stay overboard. All right? And there we have it. So let's see it. Before, after, ready for the reveal. This is what we're going to do. So I got the base of what I want. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to save it as a preset. And let's just call it major contrast. All right, so that's major contrast. All right, so here it comes again. Ready? Here's before. Here's after. There's what we applied. Why did we do a preset and why did I go overboard? Well, now I could take that major contrast and look what I can do. What I'm going to do right now is I'm taking all the changes I made. So think of all the ingredients or all the special tools I used. These are the settings I wanted for them. Now, with this, I'm going to dial it back just ever so slightly to where I get to where I want it to go. Let's say, ooh, look at that. So, right about there, 55%. Let's see the difference. Before, after, yep, 55 looks good. And let's go back to edit. And now I can further enhance this because if I go over to edit, you'll notice everything we did is still here, right? So if I go to this develop, remember we did this? Look how it automatically moved it to the appropriate percentage that we need. I wouldn't say percentage, to the values. So it moved it automatically for me. But you saw earlier how I made that at 100%, negative 100. Well, because I moved everything over to the 55, it's going to do that calculation for me. All right. So I have that set. And now what I can do is get a little more creative. So let's say, and this is just a little extra bonus tip. Let's say I add a black. There we go. I'm going to add a black layer. All right. What I'm going to do with this layer is I'm going to fill it all. And I'm going to change the layer blend mode. Let's go to soft light. Okay. And 100% is definitely way overboard. So now look at this. I'm adding more contrast to the image. And you know what? I really like what it's doing over here. Not a fan of what it's doing to the riders. So this is where masking comes in. And I'm going to brush and erase. So now do you see why we created the preset first? Because if we created the preset along with the mask would be saved with the preset, and that's not what we want. All right? So now I'm going to come in, and I want to erase the effect on the riders here. There we have it. Good. You know what? I like it right about there. I do notice, just to enhance the colors a little bit more, I do want to desaturate the greens. Not that much. Right about there. 4. Yep. After that definitely helps with it. All right. And then, of course, we could always finish it off with a crop. Let's see. I think it's just a little, the sky is just not that interesting. So maybe come in like this. I do like the bark of the tree. And we have it there. Now, we can continue with a bunch of the edits from there. And we may do that for the insiders that are watching this live. At the end of the session, we'll go through the Luminar or ask me anything segment, or maybe we'll do a little more enhancing of this image itself. But the whole purpose of this right now is I gave you a couple ways to improve contrast. You don't have to use all of them. So the concept, like we said, is we went in, adjust the tones, the black tones or the white tones, and then super contrast was great. Structure, and then I showed you a little extra tip by going in and adding just a black layer up on top, and then dial that back in, dial it back out. But what I want you to walk away from on this is think about creating that preset first. and then going back afterwards and adjust it from there. All right. Now, I do have a little extra perk for you. We talked about this before. This is still valid for our Luminar insiders. If you need to upgrade, because it's coming out soon, I can't tell you the date, you'll have the new version of Luminar Neo 2.0. It's absolutely amazing. I wanted to show it to you, but we have to wait until October where we can announce in detail about it. But if you're a Skylum insider and you already have access, or you already have a subscription, or you purchased the lifetime edition where you get free updates, this is an upgrade where you get the free updates. Check that out. What you're going to end up doing is clicking on that link. You can either scan the QR code, go to the site, go all the way to the bottom of the screen, and you'll see where it says, you're already a member, what's your best price? You'll enter in your email address, and then from there, whatever is the best options for you, the extra perks they have, they'll show it to you. All right? So there you have it there. And let me get rid of that. So for all of you that are here right now, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.